Hello everyone, I hope you're well and having a great start to the year so far. As usual, it's incredibly busy here at Time Team HQ with lots in the pipeline and amazing things to tell you about. We're digging out more episodes from the vaults. Series 18 is officially coming soon to the Time Team Classics channel, which includes some of my favourite episodes. Team members are getting back out into the field and will be dropping in on a few interesting projects over the coming weeks, both on Patreon and on the Time Team official YouTube channel. Lawrence and Stuart have been up in Yorkshire investigating an intriguing forest site. Danny has been on Dartmoor working on an ancient building there, and we've been keeping up with progress on the Sutton Hoo ship's construction. So it's very nice to think that these things are already going on and you'll be able to see the results of them. And of course, we have the release of our brand new episodes coming up. I've been chatting with the director Emily and the editor Tim, and they're doing a fantastic job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them coming out. I have to say I've been thrilled to see these new programs coming together, looking very much like the old Time Teams, but with some exciting new ways of looking at the archaeology. We're planning a whole host of exciting activities around this, so please keep watching this space. But what I'm really most excited about is getting started on our new sites for 2022, because it doesn't all end with our new episodes in the spring. In fact, with you again by our sides, we're aiming for at least 2 more headline Time Team digs later this year, and perhaps even more. We currently have around 15 sites on our long list for initial assessment, which will gradually whittle down into our final shortlist with your continued support and input on Patreon. So, without further ado, I'm pleased to share a few details of these now. A lost Tudor palace, judging by the grand gatehouse. This unfinished house could have been one of the finest palaces of Henry VIII's England, but was more actually built than supposed. There's a secret here waiting to be uncovered. We've got an Anglo-Saxon cemetery in Suffolk. This site has yielded some incredible finds, but is there still more to be found? Helen is very excited, and some of the initial geophysics results are very interesting. We have a Bronze Age site on an island archipelago off the far southwest of the British mainland. It's a landscape steeped in myth and legend, but can we reveal some of its secrets? A possible chapel linked to the 7th century Saxon princess and saint Eanswyth, whose remains were rediscovered recently in Kent. Can Time Team shed further light on this fascinating historical figure? Danny is very keen on this one. Next one suggested by our friend Professor Helena Hamerow, Dorchester-on-Thames. This was an important Romano-British medieval Anglo-Saxon site with archaeological remains of what might be the earliest Anglo-Saxon mercenaries working for the Romans, the Federati. This is right at one of those crucial moments of British history, the transition from the Romans to the Anglo-Saxons. This site is also very close to our hearts as the location of Time Team's pilot episode filmed way back in the early 1990s with Mick Aston. Is it time for homecoming? Helen is also very keen on this site. Next, an intriguing multi-period site on a university campus in Lincolnshire, suggested by Time Team's own Professor Carenza Lewis. There's a lot going on here, but can we make sense of it? It's an amazing location, a huge raised piece of hilltop, very near to various old Roman and earlier routes. A village test pit site in Suffolk reputed to be the last resting place of a Viking king defeated by King Alfred, and with connections to some of the earliest European settlers in North America. Could our American friends help pick up the story across the pond? Carenza is a great supporter of these community sites. A forest site in Yorkshire. in Stuart's neck of the woods, with what appears to be multi-phases of activity stretching from the prehistoric to the Tudor. Some early assessment is already underway, and we'll have more details on that soon. Is it time to venture north, and will the new LiDAR equipment really deliver? Next up, metal detectorists have discovered a Roman building in the east of England that looks intriguing, to say the least. This one was suggested by our friend Keith Westcott, who discovered the Broughton Roman villa at the centre of our upcoming episode. So when Keith has a hunch, it's probably worth taking note. Time Team's Helen Geek has suggested another site that came to light when metal detectorists discovered amazing Anglo-Saxon finds in East Anglia. Could it be the location of a lost Saxon cemetery? And will we get a chance to see whether our new geophysics equipment can actually find graves in the field? Again, in East Anglia, we have a large Roman fort that Time Team investigated previously. It's an incredible site, but just imagine what we could now do with today's technology. Is it worth returning? It's certainly very intriguing and a major jewel in the East Anglian crown of Roman sites. Lawrence is very keen on a modern housing estate that's been built on top of a Roman building. Time Team once discovered an ancient mosaic in somebody's back garden. What might a community test pit strategy produce on this particular site? Lawrence thinks it might be a cracker. You can see me have a site wrestle session with him on this site later in the month on Patreon. Another one suggested by Dr. Helen Geek, a small Suffolk village, apparently the site of an Anglo-Saxon ship burial. Could this be a smaller version of Sutton Hoo? It's a mystery, and we could actually find some aspect of this that nobody's ever discovered before. So these are just some of the possibilities we are considering, and for more details on the current 2022 long list and to have your say, join us on Patreon. Each site has its champion ready to present their case. Our patrons will be there every step of the way, joining our site wrestle sessions and sharing feedback. And of course, as enticing as they are, we can't take every site forward this year, but we'll carry some forward with an initial assessment, maybe a geophysics survey, maybe a site visit, to see whether or not they'll be worth pursuing for this or next year. We've already opened up a poll to gauge your first impressions, the first of many as the process develops, so why not join us to have your say? We've now launched the site suggestion form, offered exclusively to patrons, so that you can put forward your own ideas for sites for us to investigate. Look out for the full details on Patreon. We will select one Patreon suggested site to be visited by a member of the team for initial assessment. I'm also delighted to announce that our wonderful director, producer, Emily Bolting, will be returning this year to capture the story of our next excavation. It's been great working with Emily again, who directed some of Time Team's most memorable episodes. She's doing a fantastic job on the new shows from our recent digs, and we can't wait to share those results with you. Remember, we can only do this with your continued support. So thank you once again. Together we brought Time Team back. Now together we can take it forward to the next chapter. If you haven't joined us yet, why not become the latest member of the team? To ensure you catch all the latest updates, please do subscribe to this channel, follow us on social media, sign up to our newsletter, and join us on Patreon.